New videos every day. Life, wisdom. I'm Psychetruth Correspondent Corrina Rachel, and I'm joined today by Dr. Colin Ross. He's a psychiatrist and author based out of Dallas, Texas. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for the invite.
So you've been doing a lot of research on energy fields, electromagnetic fields of the body. Just give us a basic background of the work you've been doing.
Well, this is a whole area that I'm involved in that a little bit overlaps psychiatry, but mostly is separate. And it kind of goes back really to my teenage years. And I've been, just as a human being, interested in energy fields, the energy I feel inside myself, energy between people, energy out in the natural world, and how that energy field affects me. So I've studied that sort of from a spiritual, mystical, philosophical, anthropological kind of point of view. But I thought to myself, how can I make this scientific? And the kind of leap I made was, why don't I just say that the life force, chi energy, whatever we would call it, the spirit, and the electromagnetic field of the body are the same thing. And so once I say that to myself, then I go, oh, well, then I want to be able to scan and measure this field and kind of unify Eastern and Western medicine if possible.
Very interesting. So in the same way that your cell phone is releasing electromagnetic radiation, there's electromagnetic radiation coming from every object. It's coming from the human body too. And so maybe this is that consciousness or spirituality or chi, as you mentioned. Maybe this is really one and the same. That's very interesting.
Right. And so that's kind of the philosophy part of it. But now when we get into the actual science, we can kind of like leave the philosophy part to the side for the moment. Mm-hmm. And so once I thought to myself, okay, the human body's putting out electromagnetic energy, that's a fact, that's not disputable. And I decided to learn more about it. And I tied in my sort of general interest in energy and one specific thing, which is the sense of being stared at. This is kind of the area I kind of grabbed onto at first. So like many, many people, I've had the feeling of somebody's looking at me. And I turn around and I look directly at the person who's looking directly at me. Mm-hmm. And there's kind of this little look of recognition. And then you go, carry on with your day. And so I decided there must be something to that. It happens too much just to be coincidence. But within Western science, Western medicine, that's completely not allowed. And there's guys who do research surveying college students, and they're just appalled to find out that 25% of college students think that something comes out of your eye and has something to do with the sense of being stared at, because that's totally unscientific. We got to educate these people better. So it all just kind of grinds to a halt at that point, because there's no way to study it scientifically in terms of how that would actually work. Until you go, wait a minute, maybe the brain waves that we measure when we do an EEG by putting an electrode on your head, maybe those brain waves, since they come out here and here and here and here and here, they must be coming out here. And since these brain waves are emitted through the skull and also through the eye, it stands to reason they're going to be a little stronger coming out of your eye because they don't have to make it through your skull. Mm-hmm. Plus there may be some conscious focusing. Plus you got your retina there, which is like this big electrical cable. So I thought there's probably a beam of energy coming out of your eyes that's electromagnetic that we could measure that could be the foundation of the sense of being stared at. And there could be receptors in your skin or in your nervous system for picking that up, which is not really mystical or crazy, because how do we see to start with? Electromagnetic signals, photons, light, goes into your eye, interacts with receptors, goes back. And how do you get a suntan? Because photons hit your skin and are captured by your skin and activate synthesis of melanin. How do you synthesize vitamin D? Photons hit your skin, they're captured, they drive the synthesis of vitamin D. So we know that electromagnetic energy coming in is captured by the body and used to drive biological processes. And so then what I've developed is you can't take a normal EEG and put a bunch of paste on it and put it right on your eyeball. Mm. So you have to have an electrode that doesn't make contact with your eye, which I developed, and I've actually published the very nice tracings. So you've got a cap on, it's got the normal 20 electrodes, I've got a goggle. Inside the goggle is an electrode in front of my eye that's not touching me. And then outside the goggle is just hanging in space control electrode. And there's tin foil and copper mesh to insulate electromagnetically the one that's inside the goggles. And when you look at the tracing that's on the two forehead leads, you can see the tracing in the printout. And you can see the tracing from the eye electrode. It's exactly the same. And in great detail, it's exactly the same. And the control electrode has just got very low frequency, low amplitude background noise. Plus it's got heartbeat artifact because the heartbeat's being picked up by the reference electrodes. So I've already shown there's a normal physiologically active EEG signal coming out of your eyes. So now the question is just, we can develop the hardware and the software and get the electrode further and further away. And I have a patent covering this. And the idea of the patent is, if the field coming out of your eye is a little stronger than the general field coming out of your skull, if you can have a sensor 3 feet, 6 feet, 10 feet away, and it can detect the general field coming out of your head, which is at these frequencies, which are called ELF, extra low frequency, which is 4 hertz, 10 hertz, 60 hertz, which is brainwave level. Those signals go hundreds and hundreds of miles out into the environment without dropping off. But we're only looking at 6, 10, 15 feet. So if the system can tell, here's the general field coming out for the skull, then when I turn and look at the electrode, it's a stronger signal. That becomes an on-off switch, activated by looking at it, which could be attached to any device on the planet. That's what the electrode's for. And then I'm also working on, so you could have a set of these electrodes in a cap or in a helmet, and they don't actually have to be physically touching your head at all to take an EEG. Take the same electrode, put it in front of your heart. There's guys in England already taking EKG from 3 feet away with no physical contact with the body. So I'm currently working on developing a very practical, usable, rugged, not too expensive system where you can take an EKG maybe from the roof of the ambulance, from the roof of the transport helicopter, roof of the hospital room, and you could actually have a little device you plug into your iPhone and an app in your iPhone and take either somebody else's EKG or your own, capture it, and text or email it to your physician.
Wow.
So this is basically sick bay on the Starship Enterprise. We're just about to go wireless in medicine. And then the patent pending I have is to have a whole array of these electrodes, sort of like an MRI machine, and sense the electromagnetic field of the whole body all at once. Because I think that we're only looking at the head and the heart most of the time in medicine in terms of electrical output. We could look at the whole body and study it for early detection of disease, understanding normal physiology, how the body's operated, and maybe even high performance physiology. And part of the idea there is that a lot of how the body is regulated and controlled is actually at the electromagnetic level, not at the biological, chemicals, hormones, receptors level. And this could be technology for actually getting into that and studying that.
Wow. Okay, very cool. So why don't we have a look at this research for ourselves?
Okay. We'll go and take a look at the actual heart EKG electrode in operation not far down the road.
Okay, that sounds great.
Hello, my name is Keith Cummerly. I'm a senior electrical engineer here at Ascendant Engineering Solutions, and we're working on a non-contact EKG or EEG device. You can see on the oscilloscope that my heartbeat is shown there, and it's a little noisy because we're having some trouble with 60 hertz coupling. I still have to touch the ground reference node to my body to get rid of a fair amount of 60 hertz. If I let go of that, we still get somewhat of a signal, but it gets to be more noisy. In a normal EKG, you would put the leads pasted directly on your body, and that would directly pick up the electrical signals from your body as your heart gets polarized as it contracts. But here we're trying to pick them up without any contact to your body via capacitive methods. The center circle there is the sensing capacitor or sensing plate that makes a capacitor with your body. You can see a small ring, an additional circular ring around that. That's a shield ring. This was another circuit board we had to add to try to get rid of some of the 60 hertz coupling. When you first put the instrument up to your body, there's some very long time constant low pass filters that have to work and settle. So it takes a few seconds, a long time to some, for the filters to settle out and for the heartbeat to start showing up.
Alrighty, guys.
There you go. Look at that. You got a good, strong signal there.
So we're looking at my heartbeat right now. I'm holding the capacitor over my blouse, but it is up against my skin pretty closely, but through my blouse. It's not touching my skin. And so we're looking at my heartbeat right now, which is kind of cool. The first time I've ever seen my heartbeat like this. So this is very neat. We're on our way to being able to actually, sense our electromagnetic radiation without even touching our bodies. We're working on getting there. So this is our first step that direction. This is pretty cool. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed our video. If you'd like to learn more, you can visit rossenergysystems.com. Be sure to like this video, leave a comment with any questions or video requests. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so you can catch all of our future videos. For Psychetruth, this is Corrina Rachel. Thank you so much for watching.